When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do meaningful work every day. You get to be the biker who codes as fast as he rides, crafting advanced tech solutions that transform car buying. Or a guitarist who develops harmonious apps and websites, connecting people to people and businesses, all in real time. A savvy soccer mom running solution sets as passionately as she runs gameplays. Be the super secret keeper, designing cybersecurity systems to protect private data and websites. A planet protector, expanding EV battery life and inventing more ways to build a better future for all. When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do career-defining work that solves the greatest problems of our time. Join us and connect to work that improves lives, including yours. Learn more about our family of businesses at cox.career/tech.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Sobros Network proudly brings to you some in-depth movie discussion with our resident film critic, Brandon Vick.
Happy evening, everyone. The Vick's Flicks podcast is here.
Happy New Year. Welcome back for another year of the Vick's Flicks podcast right here on the Nashville Movie Dispatch. I am your host for the show, the EIC at SobrosNetwork.com, contributor to Nashville Movie Dispatch as well, Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley, collectively at Sobros Network on all major social media platforms, and Nashville Movie Dispatch on Substack, joined as usual by the star of the show, the man whose namesake it bears. He is a board member of the Music City Film Critics Association. He is a member of the Southeastern Film Critics Association. He's our resident film critic here at Nashville Movie Dispatch, Mr. Big Shot himself, Brandon Vick. Brandon, Happy New Year. How you doing?
Happy New Year. Good.
Did you have a good holiday season?
I did. It always goes by fast.
Well, this year there's only like 3 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, but we decorated like the first or second week of November.
Yeah, us too. We tried to get ahead of that.
And we just put all that shit up.
Yeah, we're working through it now. We have decorations all over the house.
But yeah, it was fun. My kid was really into it this year. He was really into Santa.
Is that that age?
Lights. Yep. He loved the classics of like Frosty, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Love the 1960s Grinch.
Yeah, well,
he was talking about it just this past week on how he might still be stealing things. So,
man. Well, we had a Grinch marathon when you came over for Black Friday. We watched the original, and then we watched the Benedict Cumberbatch one. We tried to get him on the Jim Carrey one. He wasn't having it. Wasn't having it.
Which I don't know if was 3 Grinches too much, or.
I mean, the Jim Carrey Grinch is kind of scary.
Because he kind of just started running around and not really caring. But I will tell you, my kid is pretty focused when we turn on a show or a movie.
I was amazed by it.
Yeah, we try not to do the whole, lot of screen time.
Yeah.
He did really indulge over the holidays. But he will, he'll sit there and I'll be like, hey, do you want any? And he doesn't even... if he could tell you to fuck off, he would.
That's what we were.
Come back in 48 minutes, buddy.
We were sitting around having dinner on Black Friday with the Grinch on.
Yeah.
And I remember my wife just looking at me and saying, look at this child. Yeah. And he's just completely immersed and enamored by the story. Do you think, as a film lover yourself, is there a part of you that thinks, oh, he's got the appreciation for this? Or is it just
hoping
bright lights and
I'm
the
hoping.
Grinch?
I think part of it. I think anything with bright lights and moving images. But I'm hoping I can take him to a movie sooner rather than later, where we both can sit there and watch it without him getting bored. But again, he can probably make it a good hour. After that, it might get iffy, no matter what.
Yeah.
We'll see. And also, the theater experience is totally different than sitting on your couch.
That's true.
Eating grapes or something.
That's true.
With your blankie. So
So we are here to ring in the new year and talk about, would you say, the first like big release of 2025? Because January kind of seems like a dud as far as the film schedule goes. I mean, I know Nashville's getting The Brutalist, and you would obviously count that as a pretty big release.
Yeah, I mean, some stuff is getting their wide release, but some, it's shown somewhere.
Wolfman feels like the first big, like, oh, people might actually go see this movie.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, we are going to kick off the new year talking about the first big release, but I do want to remind you guys, if you go to NashvilleMovieDispatch.substack.com, join our community there. We've got content up Monday, Wednesday, and so far it's been just about every Friday. There's been something up there too.
That's kind of additional there.
That's kind of the bonus day, but we've filled it out ever since we launched Nashville Movie Dispatch a couple months ago. But we do have a movie annual available for sale on Amazon. If you just search Nashville Movie Dispatch, you can search Brandon's name, you can search my name on Amazon, and it pops up there. It is our definitive guide to the year 2024 in film, featuring tons of reviews. I think we have 135 plus movies rated in that book, some exclusive features, some lists, superlatives, all that fun stuff. It's available for just $10 on Amazon, and
that's a steal.
Holding it in my hand, it feels pretty cool. It feels like a pretty cool little book. So
I have it displayed on my shelf. That
I
have in the living room. Yeah.
But it's
no one cares about Stephen King or the Odyssey or the Bible.
No, none of that. It's the Nashville Movie
the
Dispatch
Nashville
movie annual.
Movie annual 2024. That's
so
right.
go check that out. Support the team. Buy your copy. Brandon, let's talk about Wolfman to start us off, because I think this is interesting looking film. So just right off the bat, general impressions from watching the trailer, or even if you remember back when, because this has been in development for quite some time.
Yeah.
When you first heard they were going to reboot Wolfman.
Well, I think everyone kind of has a nasty taste in their mouth from these Universal monster movies.
Well, it's supposed to be some big universe, like everybody wanted
Johnny
to
Depp
copy
was
paste
be
what
the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, the Mummy.
Yeah.
And I think Javier Bardem was going to be Frankenstein's monster. I think at one point there's a picture with all them in it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he was going to be Frankenstein's monster.
I couldn't remember if he was supposed to be Frankenstein's monster or if he was supposed to be Wolfman and somebody else was going to be Frankenstein's monster.
Maybe. But I don't know who else would have been.
Yeah, I don't, because at the time when all of that was going on, I don't think Ryan Gosling was associated with this.
No,
was he?
No. They were trying to get all these kind of, I guess, lead Hollywood men. And anyway, Tom Cruise's The Mummy came out and that killed everything.
What?
Right out the gate.
I love the concept. Like if you're gonna do another like cinematic universe, let's go with the Universal monsters. Let's
that
go
idea.
For it.
Yes,
and
it sounded fun in theory.
I don't think The Mummy was as bad as people said it was.
Either.
I don't think it's a great movie, but I think it's like it is a fun 2.5 kind of film for me.
Yeah, I don't think it. Some people hate it, and I'm just like, it's not that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just didn't care enough. Like, I just thought for what it was, I mean, you could kind of, and it was the Tom Cruise Mummy movie. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. But then The Invisible Man came out that has Elizabeth Moss in it.
Oh, that was a great film.
And that was one of the best horror films, actually in a long time, and one of my favorites of that year.
Right before COVID kicked off, too.
And the director, and I think I'm saying this right, Lee Winnell.
Why? Yeah, your guess is as good as mine.
But he directs Wolfman.
He's back.
So it makes I'm intrigued just because he did such a good job with The Invisible Man.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, when you look at the trailer, it looks like every other Wolfman story. It looks good.
Yeah.
But
and it's Blumhouse too. That's
right.
I think that's probably worth mentioning here.
And I like Christopher Abbott. He's not Ryan Gosling, but I do like Christopher Abbott.
Julia Garner's in this one too.
Yep. And she plays his wife, and then they have a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like the whole kind of the reason he becomes it and his transformation, I don't know. Well, I I'm wondering, is there anything different? Is this more of like just the classic horror tale? And, but it's...
Well, I mean, it definitely seems like it's going to be different from a story perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't think they're leaning into like the classic folklorish story.
Yeah.
That we
and
saw.
The look of the Wolfman, from what I can tell, does seem more like human-esque type.
Yeah.
Not like over the top. It's overly done where like Benicio del Toro's Wolfman.
Yeah.
So excuse me. I'm excited. But The Invisible Man, there was a lot kind of under that. The tone, the themes of the film.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is the case for this one, or is this just more of like straightforward, like, hey, you know it, but you ain't never seen it like this. Here you go. That's
kind of where I'm leaning.
I think so too.
To your point, I think the story is going to be different. I don't think it's going to be the same thing we saw in the 2010 remake or the original we saw in we didn't see in 1941.
Not me.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's going to be the same exact story, plot, anything like that. But I think thematically, it probably will be pretty similar to, at least from just watching the trailer, it kind of feels like thematically it's going to be pretty similar to what we've seen before, just told in a different way, different kind of characters. I think the biggest thing for me, go ahead, get your...
No, I was just going to say, I was happy to see it rated R, because I think that does play a part.
I think the thing for me that differentiates from the last reboot we saw of the Wolfman story is that I feel like there's going to be less style, less vibes, like cinematography, leaning into the I don't know, the age of the story. Like I go back to the word folklore. Like, I feel like it's going to be less of that, and it looks like it's going to be a little more actual scary, like a little more jumpy, and a little more, I guess, jump scare-ish would be the best term that I can think of. And I don't know if that's like the Blumhouse effect coming in here on this, but it does kind of feel like maybe they are going to sacrifice some of the stylistic things about the originals that I appreciate more, and they're just going to go for more straight up thrills and chills kind of deal.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it's all modern time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that because there is something to it. I think back like on Benicio del Toro's Wolfman, and even just recently like Nosferatu. Like, I mean, you try to do that in modern times. I mean, that kind of spoils it, really.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Modern Nosferatu would probably rip. I don't know how you.
Which I guess was Brooklyn. Was the vampire in Brooklyn?
Oh, was
Eddie
it?
Murphy's.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's in the 90s.
It's good
and
to
it
know.
has Eddie Murphy.
We'll effort that, and we'll get our research team on that just to see.
But I think in this way, it can be a modern retelling of it. And again, I'm pretty satisfied with like everyone that's involved. I mean, I think it can be a good movie. I know there's always the kind of like, well, if it's in January.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I think that's kind of been somewhat debunked as far as just a good movie that also makes money in January.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my next question. Is like, is this telling the old, stereotype of a January release?
Yeah. I mean, I think anything like this, when you deal with this genre, it's always kind of assumed. Why doesn't it get released late September, in October?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, there's horror films throughout there's another one with Oz Perkins, who did Longlegs, called The Monkey, based off the short story of Stephen King, comes out in February. I mean, doesn't mean it won't be good. May not be. Maybe it will be. But, but I do think The Invisible Man came out in like August or something. No, it came out in February.
No, it came out in February. Yeah, it was right before COVID. It was the first one that I know my wife and I, during the lockdown, we paid the $20 to rent because we were just kind of like, we need the boost. It got to run in theaters.
Yeah, I was gonna say I must have seen it in the opening weekend or so because I know I saw it in theaters.
It was in and out in like a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then
So, I mean, listen, I'm hopeful. I'm excited about it. I will say that's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most this month. I mean, again, to your point, there's not a whole lot, but Den of Thieves 2 and Flight Risk, Mel Gibson's new movie with a balding Mark Wahlberg.
I don't know how I feel about that film.
And a Topher Grace.
I don't know about that one.
I think it's 90 minutes, and I'm like, you know what?
Give it a shot.
You might get me at 90 minutes. And then there's Dog Man, which I guess is a popular thing, but it's from the guy who wrote Captain Underpants.
Okay.
And Pete Davidson plays the villainous cat.
Okay. All right.
I should say voices.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to think he's dressed up like a cat. So now that I've said all that, I guess Wolfman really has the lowest damn expectations you could imagine. But
so maybe this was the perfect spot to release it.
Maybe Blumhouse is a genius.
Yeah, they're just going to clean house at the box office this month. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, we did this a couple of years ago whenever Renfield came out. We kind of
did one on vampires.
We thought, hey, you know what? This might be a good chance. Lack of foresight there with maybe one of the biggest vampire movies of all time looming just the following year.
Yeah.
But at the time we were like, hey, we don't know when we're going to get the chance to do
Nicolas
this.
Nicolas
Cage. Let's talk about vampires in history.
Hey, but at least we got Nicholas Hoult anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
We got him.
Yeah, that's true. So we thought, hey, there's not a lot going on in January. This might be a good opportunity to have a larger discussion about werewolf movies in general and some of our favorites and what we like about them, what we don't, that sort of thing.
And let's be honest with the listener. We can run this shit over and over.
Every werewolf movie.
On Halloween. It will become the running joke when anytime a vampire movie comes out, we should just play the vampire one.
Play the vampire. And people will be like, what
are
they talking about Renfield for?
I can't wait till Friday the 13th shows up because It'll run that movie review rewind. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm actually interested because honestly, I didn't actually think of that many.
I didn't either. And
just going down the line of like, besides like the original and the Werewolf in Paris and London.
Yeah.
Wolf and Wolfman. I think that's the only ones I thought of. As far as like
not,
straight up.
It's not as extensive of a list as I thought there would be.
Yeah. Okay, well maybe I did think
But to your point, I feel like once you get started rattling off one, the rest start coming, and then you hit that wall after like 10 films.
Yeah,
like,
oh wait.
Yeah, what else is out there? But the legend of the werewolf obviously has its roots in European folklore. Back in the day, they had their werewolf legends and emanated in short stories, works of fiction, stuff like that. Symbolism in film and in fiction, for that matter, is like the werewolf is written to sort of represent the beast within. For some characters, it's been used to show a reflection of fear and anxiety in people, the manifestation of those things, the manifestation of sort of succumbing to your anger and unleashing fury. But it's also been an interesting reflection of social class. Like you look at the symbolism of the vampires, like the wealthy prince that sucks blood and all that stuff. But werewolves are these dirty beasts that, the mortal enemy of the high society vampires, that sort of thing. Like they're meant to represent like more working class people. And I think it's an interesting sort of parallel to draw with the uprising of, people being treated poorly that finally have enough and they become these things. So it's a really clever device that you can use in writing with the werewolf. And to me, like when I think about those sorts of things, I'm like, why aren't there more fucking vampire or werewolf movies?
Yeah,
because it's such a cool device to play with. But
I never thought of it that way. And I guess Benicio del Toro's version, that's not, I guess, necessarily true, because I'm pretty sure they are rich. But
yeah,
But I mean, generally, I never really thought of it that way, especially when you kind of compare it to, because that is true. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie about some, hobo vampire.
Yeah,
I think he's always had a beautiful castle,
slick talker, very charismatic,
charming.
well-spoken, eloquent, charming. Great word for it. And the werewolves are always like the shaky dudes that are like, "Don't piss me off."
Yeah.
Full moon, and then you hear them howling, and the next thing you know, they're tearing people limb from limb. So
that's why. See, there's nothing classy about.
No, there's not.
What the werewolf does, and also how he dresses. He's just naked.
Yeah.
Balls hanging out. Or boobies.
Or boobies. Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble.
I think it is kind of interesting and art reflects life kind of way to think that this is something that for my life has been viewed as, fantastical folklore, horror, out of this world kind of stuff. But when you stop and think about it and how our art kind of reflects society, it's like, oh yeah, man, that makes a whole lot of sense.
It does. And I think, and especially I'd say in the past, I think it's been more apparent in probably the past 10, 15 years that the horror genre speaks a lot to society and class. I think more, used to, especially in the 80s, it was kind of about the teenage, revolt, rebellion, sex, and now it's gotten, I would say it's gotten actually, the genre's gotten a lot more serious.
Yeah.
It wants to be.
It's kind of interesting to think of a movie like Teen Wolf too, and how like the hormones and everything can
that's
how
kind of
that represents.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's interesting, and I'm like, man, why haven't there been more
You're right.
more werewolf movies when you can kind of dig into, really sink your teeth into how meta some of this stuff is.
Yeah.
The first werewolf film was the 1913 Canadian short titled The Werewolf, which is now lost. The last copy was lost in a warehouse fire in 1924.
Oh.
Since then, over the last 100 years...
May I ask if Ryan Gosling was attached to that?
I don't know if Ryan Gosling was attached to that one. But the genre kind of undergoes a similar trajectory as the vampire film, which we talked about on that episode. Was kind of funny how, like, at first vampires were presented as these like grotesque, ugly, demonic beings, and over time they became sort of slick, sexy, and eventually, people aren't as shocked by them. You see the same thing with the werewolf films. Like, at first they're these beastly creatures that ravage and everything, but over time the genre kind of evolves and people are tired of seeing the scary werewolf. So there's some werewolf comedies out there. There's some...
Would it be strange to say that they almost become somewhat relatable?
Yeah. No, I think that's...
I think that's fair. Especially
I don't think that's strange to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just feel like as those iterations keep evolving, you do see some part of yourself that believes like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I think if I was driven to a point,
who hasn't?
Who wouldn't want to do that?
Who hasn't thought?
Who wouldn't want that or this or
to lose all control of my faculties and just go on a killing
Let
rampage?
me be the animal I was born to be.
Yeah. So it's interesting to think about the werewolf in the place of film history, because I do think of like the Wolfman as probably one of those early figures in cinematic history. When you think about like the classic, iconic, universal monsters that we were talking about earlier, it's like, man, this is a real piece of pop culture here. So when I think of the werewolf movie, my brain immediately goes back to that 1941, the original Wolfman, which I actually have a copy of on VHS, thanks to our friends Brittany and Jesse at Danger Zone Video. So go check them out. But when I say werewolf movie, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
I think I do. I think about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I've actually watched it all, but the imagery of that Wolfman is the one I think of first.
Halloween-y classic Hollywood.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, and same thing with Dracula, and I remember like the old, like the one of the original Invisible Man with the sunglasses where he's wrapped.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
But
Creature
that
from the Black
Wolfman,
Lagoon.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was gonna say that too.
That's a good remake. Maybe that's who Javier Bardem was supposed to be in the rebooted Universal Monster Universe.
And I swear, and maybe I'm making this up, but I swear at that time I thought like Angelina Jolie was going to be Bride of Frankenstein.
I remember that.
But yeah, I do think, as at least not so much the movie, but the image of the Wolfman, I do think of in that original one. It's tough not to, even with Frankenstein and everything. I think it's just been a part of it. Even if it's not a scary movie, there's movies that show those scenes. You know what? Like, I just feel like it's just been a part of culture, and you don't, no matter how many versions you see, that's always comes back to them in some form or fashion.
I can't find anything about that projected Universal Monster Universe. You type that in on Google, and it brings up the park actually opening up. They're like,
there is they are doing that
theme park based
there
off.
There is a picture, but it's not of Angelina Jolie. But there's a picture of like Tom Cruise, Johnny
Russell
Depp,
Crowe.
Yeah, well,
he was Jekyll and Hyde.
Yep.
Yeah.
But and which sounds cool at the time, but now, like in 2025. Well, first of all, Johnny Depp is Invisible Man. That doesn't seem nearly as interesting. I'm still in on Javier Bardem.
Oh yeah, I mean, just in general.
Frankenstein. Yeah, but a Frankenstein's monster, I think he could do it.
Yeah. Well, there is a new Frankenstein movie coming out, isn't there?
Oh, is
like
there?
Andrew Garfield.
Oh,
and all them.
Well, now Christian Bale is a Frankenstein's monster in Maggie Gyllenhaal's Frankenstein movie. And that looks interesting. And then there is another one, and maybe Andrew Garfield's in that. There's two like competing Frankenstein movies, but I don't think either one is of the most famous image of Frankenstein. But
okay.
But yeah, who played the original
Well, when that
Wolfman?
comes out, we can do Frankenstein.
I would love to.
Yeah, do a Frankenstein podcast. The original Wolfman was it not Lon Chaney?
No, maybe you're right.
Wolfman 1941. Let's look that up. Lon Chaney Jr.
Okay.
Yep. Bela Lugosi was in that too. So, did we get a cameo? Were they doing cameos back then?
They must have been. It must have had an end credit scene, and he shows up.
He was different. Was
he played a different person?
A fortune teller and werewolf.
Good for him. He was a werewolf too. He's been Dracula and a werewolf.
Yeah.
Oh man, lucky guy.
Yeah. How about that? And he was Igor in Son of Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, my God.
The goat.
Yeah.
That's why he's the goat.
The goat.
All right, back on track here.
But yes, I do. That's what I think of first. Not so much the movie, but that imagery is kind of because it's. I mean, it's not scary at all these days, but it is iconic.
Yeah. To your point about werewolf movies in general, it is kind of hard. Like when you start looking through film history, it's kind of like, for me anyway, I was like, I kind of need some help. Like, I can't think of all that many off the top of my head. All the ones that I thought of were like vampire movies. So
and I didn't even think about Teen Wolf or any of them.
Yeah, I went to Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes has a list of the 20 essential werewolf movies to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it'd be fun to kind of go through these and see how many of them you've seen and or remember. Yeah. Number one, obviously, I bet you can guess.
The original.
1941's The Wolfman.
Yeah, makes sense.
Number two, An American Werewolf in London from 1981.
I have seen parts of it, and I may have even seen the whole thing, but I was really young because I feel like I rented it. But I know that's really kind of perceived as like one of the, if not the great kind of werewolf movie.
Mm-hmm. Number three, 2000's Ginger Snaps, which I completely forgot about.
Oh, yeah, I did too. Oh, that's a good one. But I did forget that was a werewolf movie.
There's a film listed at number 4 called The Company of Wolves from 1985. That's 85%.
Oh, I don't know what that one is.
Number 5, Brittany from Danger Zone Video will be happy to hear this with 82%, Dog Soldiers from 2002. That's actually a film that she proposed we do an episode of Drinking With on that we never got around to doing. But apparently, I think it's a German film. Maybe it's
I've never seen
English. I can't remember, but it is a kind of like horror action.
Okay.
Synopsis: during a routine nighttime training mission in the Scottish Highlands, a small squad of British soldiers. Well, hang on, I just lost it. Damn it.
Oh. Okay, but it's foreign. I mean, not American. I mean,
yeah.
It's in the. Where was it? In the Scottish Highlands, but it's British soldiers.
A small squad of British soldiers expected to rendezvous with a special ops unit instead find a bloody massacre with a sole survivor.
Oh, he must be a werewolf.
That would be my guess, yeah. But 82%
yeah, I've never seen
on
that.
Rotten Tomatoes.
I might check that one out.
Number 6 is The Howling from 1981.
Oh, yeah.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah, I think it spawned a couple of movies after that. I know there's at least maybe one or two. It felt like it was during that time of like Freddy, Jason, and all them, where if it was somewhat successful, it immediately got 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've seen all of that one either. I feel like it's one of those where I rented, because I used to go to Blockbuster and rent up scary movies with an old friend, and I know I feel like I have seen parts of it, and I've always heard that's all, but like the original is the best one.
Number 7, we have Ginger Snaps 2 Unleashed from 2004.
Okay, I've never seen that one.
Number 8, we talk about the evolution of the genre into more of an action style, a film we haven't even talked about yet. Underworld, 2003. Is literally vampires versus werewolves.
Yeah, and they're called, that's lichens, right?
The lichens,
is that
yes.
what they call them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale, Scott Speedman, Michael Sheen, Bill Nye is
cool.
in the first one.
The first
I don't know if he's
cool.
in any of.
I don't know if he comes back. I feel like Michael Sheen comes back, but not him.
Michael Sheen got his own spin-off movie with this, didn't he? Wasn't there like an Underworld Rise of the Lycans or something that didn't have Kate Beckinsale in it at all?
No, she did not do it. And then she came back for one, and I think Speedman's in that one.
I mean, could be. He's not doing much else.
No, I think he's in TV.
That one show.
Is it
it's
Animal
Kingdom? Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, first one's cool. Underworld.
Number 9. I never saw this one. It's 86% on Rotten Tomatoes from 2021. A film called a little horror comedy called Werewolves Within.
That's a good
Sam
one.
Richardson.
Yes, that's a good one.
That's one I might have to fire up.
It is funny, but it actually is. It is kind of scary too. Like it's a nice, solid balance of horror and comedy. That's one of the ones I thought of later when we were talking about this. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Yeah. Werewolves Within, yeah. I think that's one of the first times I kind of really noticed Sam Richardson. Then I felt like he was in everything.
Number 10, they have a film from a friend of the Nashville Film Festival. We've seen him there quite a bit, Jim Cummings.
Oh, yeah.
The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
Yeah.
2020.
That one was pretty good. I thought it'd be a little better, but it wasn't too bad. And I think McCash really liked that one, if I'm not mistaken.
McCash really liked wait, which one did you say? Did you say Thunder Road?
He liked the Yuma County.
He liked
one.
The Last Stop in Yuma County.
Maybe it was someone else who liked that. But I remember that Wolf one really kind of like building up some like really nice reviews and buzz, and
it's 90%.
I can't
on
say
Rotten
it lived
Tomatoes.
up totally to it, but it's a pretty good one. I can see that being within that kind of top 10. You know, the way that people expect, I guess, a werewolf movie to be.
So there we round out the top 10. They go on to mention, like, they get into some of the Twilight movies, Teen Wolf, which we talked about.
Yeah.
The 2004's Van Helsing movie.
Oh God, yeah.
And then some of the other Universal stuff, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, that sort of stuff. But it does kind of bring me to our Mount Rushmore question for this episode.
I have a question. Where was Cursed at?
Curse was not in their definitive essential.
Because it's shit.
Yeah. I want to go back and watch that movie.
Rest in peace, Wes Craven. And I guess it was a horror comedy. But I hated that movie.
I'm going to jot that one down. I don't know if we have an opening for October. We do. I'm gonna
write that. Let's watch that one again. I'd love to know if I still hate it.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I'm
I'll
down
have
with
a
that.
newfound appreciation for it, but we can find out. But okay.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
But do you have a Mount Rushmore? I've got mine handy. If you don't,
you go ahead and start. I've got like 2 at least.
I love 2010's Wolfman. That's one of my favorite spooky season movies. Benicio del Toro.
It's not a great
Anthony Hopkins.
It's not a great movie, but it's a great movie to watch in October.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. The
and
vibes.
It's atmosphere.
Yeah, it's all atmosphere. It kind of along those same lines, I am nervous to rewatch Underworld in 2024, but I loved it when I was a teenager. So I would put it put it up there.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
And then I go with Jack Nicholson's Wolf.
Yeah,
that's
one of the
fun,
ones I thought of with him and Pfeiffer.
Mindless drivel at Halloween.
It is.
It's great.
Yeah. Again, not a great movie, but I did like the performances, and I think people would agree. It's pretty campy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's what is it? 92? You said
92
or 93? It's something like that.
Yeah.
But I really like it's good. I don't even know if it's a good werewolf movie, but I do like it because it is kind of they ham it up.
Yeah.
But you also are watching two.
I mean, it's just kind of cool to watch Jack Nicholson be a werewolf.
Yeah. And
that's all.
And he goes through a transformation thing. And in the early 90s, it was a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think if I can
Wolf, Underworld, and Wolfman, Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
There's a werewolf in Dark Shadows. So if I can count Dark Shadows, I think I'll go with
the
that.
Johnny Depp one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh,
but
fair enough. Okay.
I also like Werewolf by Night. I don't know if we're counting that. It's technically a TV special.
Yeah. No, you can
Or is it a
count
film? I don't know. But I liked.
I mean, it's a short film.
Yeah.
Right?
I liked Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, that's a good one. Gosh, that is kind of tough. I mean, off the top, I will say I do like Werewolves Within. It's very smart, but it also does a nice job, unlike Cursed, to do that horror comedy.
Yeah,
like it is really good. I think I would put Del Toro up there too, only because I like the. Unlike you, I like the vibe. I still think it's funny when Anthony Hopkins turns into it and they just start
when they fight,
beating their chest together.
Yeah, it is big meaty men slapping meat.
I would probably.
We definitely have to go back and watch the American Werewolf and blank movies.
Yeah, I remember watching, I think it's an American Werewolf in London, but Tom Everett Scott is in it from That Thing You Do. And I don't remember that being any good.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get anyone's
I just remember, was it American Werewolf in Paris where they had the soundtrack that had the Bush songs on it?
That's the London or
Is
the
that,
Paris one. Whichever the
Paris.
Yeah. No, that is. Sorry, I'm just looking through to make sure if I've missed anything. I think I would include Underworld for what I like about it. I wouldn't, if I watched it today, I'm not sure if I would do it, but for what I remember, I think I would put it in there.
So there you go. Is that 4?
No. What did I say?
I thought you said Werewolves Within,
Wolfman, then,
Underworld.
Yep. So I've got one more, and I would probably go with Wolf, the
Okay.
Jack and Michelle Pfeiffer one. I am looking at some of these, and Teen Wolf is fun. I mean,
But isn't it kind of surprising? You would think like, oh, a werewolf, that's one of the most famous characters in horror history, but there's just not a lot there.
They at least made 4 Howlings, and then there's a Howling Reborn as of 2011.
Oh my God.
So there's that. But yeah, there really isn't. And even some of them, like, I mean, I'm just looking like off the top of my, like off the top is like, hey, Dark Shadows is included in that, just in case you're wondering.
Is it? Oh, good.
But you know,
Good.
like Hotel Transylvania is in here.
Yeah.
Wolf Manor, strippers versus werewolves.
Ooh, I might have to watch that one.
Um,
I haven't heard that, but it sounds intriguing.
You know the one which I didn't really. It was fine, but was that Red Riding Hood with Amanda Seyfried?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I'll have to stick with those because I'll be honest, they haven't really. Now Skinwalkers I kind of remember, but I don't remember it being good. They haven't really made any like.
Somebody needs to get on it.
Really good ones.
And
you
that
know
said, I don't think it's going to be hard for Wolfman, for this year's Wolfman, to crack the list.
Kit Harington was in one called The Beast Within last year.
Yeah.
It was.
Man, what's going on with Kit
good.
Harington?
I don't know. So, it's not like the stories aren't being told. It's just that it ain't good. So, I think this Wolfman has a real shot at being something.
It just goes to show you those vampires, they get the preferential treatment.
Is. Those fucking 1%.
The fucking elitist vampires.
God. They're still winning. They're still winning after all these years.
Well, that's going to do it for us.
Well, that's a good way to end it.
Got any
vampires win.
Any parting thoughts on the werewolf movie?
No, I'm excited to see it. I don't think I'm getting any fun screening. So I might with the normal folk.
I might go see it in theaters, but there's part of me that's also like, there's gonna be dumb jump scares, and I'm gonna have a heart attack or shit my pants.
During the day. I want to go during the day when there's probably not that many people there.
So that way, if you shit your pants because you're scared,
correct. Yeah,
nobody will notice.
No one could even know. And I could just throw my underwear in a trash can,
just walk out.
Walk out and say, here.
Yep.
I'll just go up to the concession and go, here.
Oh, hand them?
Yeah.
Your shitty underwear.
Shitty underwear.
And just say, here.
And say,
walk out.
That movie there is scary.
Y'all need to warn us next time.
I feel sorry for anyone else who goes in there. Yeah. I think it'll probably be more like suspenseful or thrilling. I think the hand that comes up on the window. I think there's going to be some cheap jump scares.
Yeah.
But I do think it's probably going to be more of kind of like the chasing and getaway thing. The trailer has kind of, I talked about it at the beginning of this. It's kind of really kind of shown you what it is.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if it's anything different than what I saw in that 2-minute trailer.
Last question. If you could become a werewolf and it meant you would live forever, would you do it?
Do I ever turn back?
Yeah, it's like the trope. You turn into a werewolf on a full moon. That's the trade-off. Like, you could be a vampire, but then like you can't come out in the daytime.
Yeah, that sucks.
You have to live off sucking blood,
right.
Which people act like that's gross, but I bet blood hits really fucking hard if you're a vampire.
Yeah, well, and I'm also thinking if you're a werewolf, you're not really asked for much.
No, and you get to just like be your regular person.
You do ruin a lot of clothes.
You ruin a lot of clothes.
Then I think, who says you have to wear them?
Yeah, that's true.
They're going to say, oh, no, you can't do that. Then you
prepare.
wait for a full moon and you're a wolf.
Yeah, you just prepare. Like when there's a full moon.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought of another one. Hubie Halloween. Steve Buscemi.
Oh, yeah. We can't. That's probably in your
it probably
top
would
4.
Be.
But you know what? I think I would, because you can still somewhat live a normal life.
Yeah, you just go to bed naked on a full moon.
Yeah, and honestly, there's some movies that have kind of shown you, like, hey, just chain me up tonight. Let me go in the morning, and then the next one,
Yeah,
because out of all these universal monsters, I think you can live somewhat a normal life. And by the way, you look normal most of the time.
Yeah.
Vampire, you're asking a lot. You start getting Frankenstein's monster, Invisible Man. Well, I don't know, Invisible Man would be kind of fun.
Or you creep. You're a creep
just
on
a creeper,
people.
Yeah. But no, I think if you live forever, the only thing you have to deal with is that, the people you love won't always be there.
Yeah, and
you'll have to watch this world change over and over.
I don't know what the strategy would be if you could just like maybe a full moon's coming, so you just like run real far out into the woods, but then I just feel like you're gonna find, like, you're a hunter, you're gonna get hungry, you're gonna try and find people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm thinking the other way. When you know you're about to change, you go somewhere where like, that bully in 5th grade.
Yeah,
his
you go to
family
their
lives
house.
in that house.
Yeah, just the whole family. Just
I'm sorry.
fucking
I don't
rip
know
them
how it
apart.
works.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
It's
If I could
well-
target one person, sure.
Well, it's,
The
moral dilemma of being a
Taco Bell's
wolfman.
too expensive. I'm going to go to a Taco Bell and fuck them up. Naked? But that's a normal. That's normal, At 2 a.m.,
Yeah.
that's normal.
Man, that would...
You know what's sad? Me running in there as a naked werewolf wouldn't probably be the strangest thing a Taco Bell worker has seen.
Probably not.
So-
Probably not. No. I don't know, man. I think it's probably the way to go.
I think so too. Of all the things of this MonsterVerse, I think that's the one.
If you eat people...
That is true.
I don't know if...
I didn't think about what I'd have to eat,
Do-
but then
do they actually eat the people, though, or do they just...
That's
they
the thing, because
carnivorous?
they don't live off that.
Yeah,
Because
so...
you're still eating.
I'm just wondering, like, if you go eat people the night before, are you going to be, like, burping people the next day as a
Or
dude? Like, as a regular person?
Are you just left alone?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you just out there killing animals, and it's kind of like, maybe the movies have made it a bigger deal than it is.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. We'll have to consult the legends.
That's what I hope this movie is. I hope it has nothing to do with his family. It's an hour and 45 minutes of him just like gnawing on a squirrel until his family shows up.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, this has been fun. We're going to take it on home now, though. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Vick's Flicks podcast right here on Nashville Movie Dispatch. Remember to head over to Substack, find us there, subscribe. We got a free plan. You can catch all of our reviews and podcasts. We do have a paid option if you want to get the premium content that comes out once or twice a month or so. I mean, really, it's just support the team. And if you get an annual subscription, we will shoot you a copy of our movie annual for free, as long as you provide a shipping address in the United States. Thank you guys for tuning in. NashvilleMovieDispatch.substack.com. And until next time, you stay classy, moviegoers.